My name is Max Quinn. I'm 27. I have bipolar disorder. Um, I think I was diagnosed when I was about 20. I guess symptoms didn't really arise a little bit until a little bit later, maybe 22, 23. And then, it kind of all went, it kind of exploded. I think my rock bottom, I would say, was the day I was arrested for just shoplifting, which was stupid because, and again, it was just that momentary lapse of judgment. And it was that irrational decision. If I had one more second to think about it, I probably wouldn't have done it. But it's just because, you want to, I don't know if it's rebel, but you just don't make the right decisions. And your brain just doesn't process the fact that this is going to have serious consequences. And I think that was actually the aha moment. People talk about their aha moment. I remember sitting in the police station and I maybe was in this cell for an hour tops, and it scared the bejesus out of me. And that was my moment where I realized I had to get help. I remember the first person I called was my mom. And I was like, because I knew I screwed up and I didn't have anybody I could really turn to except for my parents. And I called her and I was expecting the wrath, of Satan and hell, and I just like her to just kick my ass when I get home. But she was honestly the calmest I've ever really seen her in a situation like this. It's been a challenge because prior to the new healthcare laws, I couldn't get on any insurance because of pre-existing conditions. Now it just seems that they have to let you on is they just don't want to offer you prescription medication because they don't want to pay for it. Unfortunately, whenever there's cuts that needs to be done, it seems to be mental health, it seems to be clinics, it seems to be those who help the poor. If there's ever a time not to cut mental illness funding or research or education or anything like that, it's now, because I think mental illness is now really has the potential of really becoming on the cusp of a mainstream discussion.
Hi, my name is Whitney Hill, and I am the director and founder of SPORK. SPORK is a Chicago-based nonprofit for people with non-apparent cognitive and physical differences. Growing up, I was pretty much mute for about the first 9 or so years of my life. I could talk, but no one could understand me. My speech impediment was so incredibly bad. From a very young age, I learned that if people can't understand you, people are going to think that you don't have a voice. People are going to assume that you don't necessarily have a value because you cannot say out loud what that value is. And on top of that, if people think you don't have a voice, they are more than happy to talk about you in front of your face. By the time I was in 5th grade, it was pretty clear that I had a pretty serious form of depression. And then on top of that, I have learning disabilities. I have a hard time memorizing stuff. So it was all this stuff kind of layered on top of each other. And once again, people who were looking at that and didn't understand that and coming to their own conclusion that my value and worth was less than. There are so many people out there who are just suffering. They're suffering not because of anything they have done wrong. I think that especially when people have a cognitive or a mental difference, it's so easy to say that that person, for whatever reason, chose to be that way. Or that person, for whatever reason, can completely control their difference or their emotions or their disorder or illness. There's all these misconceptions about it, and a lot of them are wrong. But when people think of depression and they think of, let's say, suicide, and SPORK has a lot of writers who are depressed and who have been suicidal for one reason or the other, because they have bipolar, because they are schizophrenic, because they have physical ailments, because they're chronically ill. People often think that suicide is something that can be helped. People often say that so-and-so committed suicide as if they committed a crime, when really that person died of their depression. The business model of Spork is one where it doesn't just have to be based in Chicago. It doesn't have to be based in Illinois. The thing that fuels Spork is really the ideation of it. Spork is literally calling out to all those within the community who want to be heard, who want to be validated, who want to be networked within their community, who need that support and that advocacy. It's basically calling out to all of them and saying that here is the platform for them to be themselves and to express themselves. I see a lot of big things for Spork in the future. I can only see growth and potential from here, and we've been having a lot of wonderful writers, contributors, directors, project coordinators, and video editors that have lent their time and skill set to helping Spork's mission. And with that, I feel like it's kind of limitless what we can do.